John 3:16, For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son, and whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. John 3:16. Love you, Bethel kids.
Time, ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
John 3:16, For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have an everlasting life.
Good morning, Bethel kids. My name is Drea.
And I'm Caleb, and we're really excited that you're joining us today.
Yeah, today is going to be so much fun. We're going to sing some awesome songs first, and then we're going to learn about Abraham, who was in the Faithful Hall of Fame too.
All right, let's do it.
The Faithful Hall of Fame. Abraham. This is Abraham.
Hey.
When Abraham was younger, he was known as Abram.
Oh.
Abram lived in a place called Haran. One day, God told Abram, Leave your home with your family and go to a place that I will show you." So Abram traveled with his wife Sarai, their nephew Lot, and the rest of their family. The new land that they made home was crowded. Abram said to Lot, "Let's not fight. Is the whole land not before us? Let's split up. You go one way and I will go the other way." So Lot looked to the left and to the right. He saw that the land of Jordan was well taken care of, so Lot chose to go the way that looked better to him. He took his family and they settled in the beautiful land near the town of Sodom. Abram took his family and they moved the other way. Then one day, God said to Abram, "Look up. All the land you see will be blessed. I will give it to you and your family forever." Abram received the promise and the blessing because he was faithful. Abraham had a nephew named Lot. He lived in the land of Jordan, which was near a city called Sodom. Unfortunately, the people who lived in Sodom did wicked things. God told Abraham that he was going to destroy the city of Sodom. Abraham pleaded with God for the people in Sodom. He asked God that if he could find at least 10 people that were not wicked, that God would promise not to destroy the city. God sent 2 angels to the city of Sodom. The angels searched for at least 10 people who were not sinning against God, but there were none. The angels told Lot that God was going to destroy the city. They told Lot to gather his family and leave the city. But Lot took a long time. He waited until it was almost too late. The angels grabbed their hands and pulled him and his family out of the city. They told Lot and his family to not turn back, but to keep going. Then God sent fire and it rained down on the city of Sodom and Gomorrah. The whole city was destroyed. Lot's wife disobeyed the angels and turned around. She immediately became a pillar of salt. Lot and his family were safe because they obeyed and left with the angels. God showed mercy and kept Abraham's family safe. This is Abram, who will later be known as Abraham. When Abram was in the land called Canaan, God told him to look over the land as far as his eyes could see. God promised that the land would be blessed and that Abram would have many children. 25 years passed. Abram and Sarai were very old and still had no children. God appeared to Abram and said, "Don't be afraid. I'm your shield. A son is coming. Look at the heavens and count the stars. Someday, you will have as many children as there are stars in the sky." Then God told Abram that his name would no longer be Abram, but it would be Abraham, which means father of many nations. God also told Abraham that Sarai's name would be changed to Sarah. God promised to bless Sarah and told Abraham that she would become pregnant and have a son. God made a covenant with Abraham that day. His covenant was a promise that Abraham would have many sons and they would be blessed.
Hey Bethel kids, we hope you've been taking care of yourselves, that you've been staying safe. We've been praying for you here at Bethel, and we just want to let you know that we love you. You've constantly been on our hearts. And today, I'm glad you can join us for our lesson today. We're going to be talking about Abraham. See, he was part of this hall of faith, as we call it. And in Genesis, he wasn't known as Abraham at first. See, his name was Abram. So if you have a Bible, or if you have a phone on you that has a Bible app, go to Genesis 12, and this is where we're gonna find the story of Abraham. And so in Genesis 12, verse 1, the Bible says, "Now the Lord had said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee. And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee. And in thee shall all the families of the earth be blessed. You see, Abram was from a place called Haran. And so God was telling Abram to get out of this place and go into this place called Canaan. And so Abram took his wife Sarai, and he took his nephew Lot and his family. And so they decided to go dwell in this place, Canaan, together. But as they came to this place, they brought an abundance of things. They brought everything they owned, all their cattle, their livestock, and everything they could gather. And they brought it into this land. And because they had all these great things, they had an abundance of them, the land couldn't hold both of them together at the same time. It was too crowded for them to live in. And so they both had spoken to each other, Lot and Abram, and they both came to a conclusion, and they decided that it'd be best if they parted their ways. And so Lot decided to look in the left and to the right, and he looked at both sides, and he then saw a place called Jordan. And so he decided to take his family over there to that place because it looked like it could meet all their needs and supply everything that they could need. And it did look like a great place, but sadly, Jordan was a very wicked place. And so as Abram decided to stay behind, he was looking for a place to dwell in, and God decides to renew his covenant with Abram because his faith in God was so great, and God was so pleased with that faith. And he renewed his covenant, and he says in chapter 13 and verse 14, "And the Lord said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated from him, Lift up now thine eyes, and look from the place where thou art northward, and southward, and eastward, and westward. For all the land which thou seest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed forever. And I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall thy seed also be numbered. Arise, walk through the land in the length of it and in the breadth of it, for I will give it unto thee." You see, God was telling Abram right here that you can look in either side of where you're standing. Look east, look south, north, west. And this land is going to be blessed plenteous when you stay here. See, I'm going to give you this land, and you're going to have an abundance of things. And you're going to be well taken care of here, and your seed is going to be the number of the grains of sand on this land. And so as Abram decides to follow God and stay faithful to God, God continues to bless him. And so God, in chapter 17, we see God change Abram's name to Abraham. And he says here, "Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be Abraham. For a father of many nations have I made thee." And that's what his name meant, a father of many nations. "And I will make thee exceeding fruitful, and I will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee. And I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee, and their generations for an everlasting covenant, to be a God unto thee, and to thy seed after thee." And so God promised Abram a son, and he promised him a seed, and he gave him a land, a seed, and a blessing. But why did he give that all to Abraham? It's because Abraham decided to stay faithful to God. He decided to trust God and to obey God no matter where God was going to take him. See, right now, it's hard. It's a hard time to trust God. It's a hard time, especially with this coronavirus going around. We don't know what's going on, but we know God has a plan for it. And we know that if we obey God, if we trust God, and if we stay faithful to God, he's going to bless us. And that's what this nation needs. That's what we need personally. We need to trust God, we need to obey him, and stay faithful to him. Because when we do those three things, when we stay faithful to God, when we obey him, and when we trust in him, then we're going to experience a blessing from God. But let's not do it just to get that blessing from him. Let's do it because he's a God that deserves to be worshipped. He's a God that deserves to be praised, and he's a God that deserves the faithfulness. So this week, I just want to challenge you guys just to stay faithful to God. No matter what's been going around us with this coronavirus, just stay faithful in the Word. Stay faithful to him, reading your Bibles and praying to him. We love you, Bethel kids. So if there's anything that you need from us, just contact us, and we'll be praying for you. Take care.
Hey Bethel kids, I'm so glad you're tuned in with us today. Before you forget, this week's memory verse is Genesis 15:6. Don't forget it, Genesis 15:6. The verse is, "And he believed in the Lord, and he counted it to him for righteousness." You see, Abraham had faith and believed in God. And God saw Abraham's faith through his actions. God saw Abraham's actions and counted him righteous. You see, God looked at Abraham and saw Abraham as a faithful man. You see, God promised Abraham that he would have many sons, many children, but he didn't fulfill his promise right away. But even though it was not immediate, Abraham still believed in God and had faith that God would keep his promise. And we could do the same today. God has given us many promises in his word for you. And it may not happen right away. It may not happen on the spot, but you can still have faith and believe in God, just like Abraham did.
Man, I had a lot of fun today learning about Abraham.
Yeah, me too. Isn't it awesome to know that if we trust God and have faith in him just like Abraham, that he'll bless us too?
Yeah, I mean, God gave him a nation, all this land, and his own son.
Wow, that must have been a lot of trust then.
Yeah, it was. Well, guys, you guys get to watch next week's video as we learn more about the Faithful Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and don't forget to memorize your verse, Genesis 15:6, to be featured on next week's episode. All right?
All right, we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.